What's going on there? Morning, Patrick. Morning, George.
Просыпайся уже, урок начался.
Morning, how you going?
Hi, good morning.
Давай.
Oh, good, I hope.
Yeah, great.
Okay. All right. Eugene is coming in there now. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. Morning, Graham.
Can you hear me, lads? Or
This is loud and clear, boy. Loud and clear.
I'm not late. I'm a bit late to this, am I?
No, you're all right. There's no hurry at all, for God's sake. You're all right. We're just waiting for you. We just thought we'd hang on for you and not,
Thanks.
cause any problems. And you know yourself, I know you're a few minutes late, but the lads were only saying there a few minutes ago, jeez, this fella's terrible altogether. You can't get him out of bed in the morning time, No, you're all right.
Thanks.
Yourself. There's never a hurry. You don't have to apologize at any time with me. There's never a hurry. We'll always get the work done. Eugene, good morning.
Morning. I'm a little bit late too. I have problem with connection.
That's this. You're okay. You're all right. Don't you worry about it. Everything is good. All right. We're waiting for who are we waiting for? Mark and Pretty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, Mark and Pretty. All right. Did you all meet the other group? Group 1.
Just on the Monday, and they were gone then after
Yeah.
that.
All right. Because I've got them next week, I think. I've got them on the 7th, 8th, and 9th for the same program. How are you guys finding the program up to now?
Good.
Yeah, lots
Yeah.
of information. It can be a bit overkill with the information, but it's only theory that I can show you. I can't, obviously. You will be doing all the practical. In 2 weeks' time or a week's time, you'll be doing the practical, which you'll enjoy. You definitely will enjoy it. Before that, you've got CV, I think, and then you've got first aid, I think, as well. First aid, you'll really enjoy it. CV, I don't have many days of CV, which is 3 days as well, is it?
I think so. Yeah. So
It can be a bit drawn out. The CV can be a bit drawn out over 3 days, But look, it's part and parcel. It's part and parcel. What I'd say to you is just in preparation for the CV course, if you have a CV, just have it ready for them. I don't know the person that's on it, so I don't know what their program is like. But I would suggest, like, if you have a CV, just have it ready to send on to them. Are they meeting you face to face, or is it online?
I don't know for sure, Jory. I actually don't know, but
Okay. I think you guys meet in the FET Centre in Bishopstown, do you?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
It's possibly face to face. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's either either. Okay. So it's the 25th. ECFET 422050. Is there any of you going on to do the rigid truck course?
Is that part of the 4 weeks?
No.
No.
It's afterwards. It's a 10-week course. It's rigid driving, so HGV driving. They cover everything on it. You cover your case studies. All you've got to do is do the theory and get your learner permit, and then after that, they cover everything: your lessons, your case studies, your practical, CPC practical.
What's this called? What's it called?
It's the rigid HGV rigid course. HGV rigid course. Rules of the road signs, Garda signs, everything is covered on it. And it's actually I'm actually down to do it. And it'll be online. I meet you that first day, and then the rest of it's just all online. You'll have your lessons. I think you have about 24 hours of lessons, or 20 hours of lessons. Like, it's a very, very good course. It's quite intense now. There's a lot of work to do to get you to pass the case studies. Once you do your theory, you've got case studies, and there's 9 case studies, and you've got to you will get, of the 9, you'll get 3 of them. You'll be asked 15 questions on each case study, and of the 45 questions, you will have to get 28 of them right, and a minimum of 5 right on each case study. So it's not easy. I mean, on the case studies alone, there is in the general public, right? That's people doing it outside of these courses, not on the courses. There's a rate of around 80% fail rate. So it's fairly high, and that's why we spend a lot of time in the case studies before we put you in for the case studies. We have a very, very low fail rate because we spend so much time on them. I go into each case study and I break sentence for sentence down. Good morning, Pretty. I break each case study down, and then I'll give you. I've got a platform, a question and answer platform, and I give you access to that so you can practice every day. right? And there's 20 questions of each case study. And the
Okay.
questions are basically based on the questions that are going to be asked on the case studies.
So they're basically just or just the actual original theory test questions, like, is it?
Yeah, you go through the questions, and you learn the answers to them, and you'll fly through it. You will fly through it.
Right.
As I said, the last I'd say 10 rigid courses I've done. Over the 10 courses, I've probably had 5 fails on the case study, and I've got to back in straight away again to redo it, and they pass it. So we spend a lot of time on that, and then you have the CPC practical as well, and we spend time on that as well. Again, I've a fair idea of the questions they're going to ask on that, so I build up the questions around that and I give you the answers to them. And it's very seldom. It's very seldom we have a fail on the rigids. And then after the rigid, once you get your rigid license, about 6 weeks later or 4 weeks later, there's an articulated HGV course. And then again, that's only a 4-week course because you've done all the groundwork in the rigid course. So it's only a matter of really getting the lessons. And again, you have 24 hours of lessons. So that's what's open to, and I don't believe they sell it hard enough with regards to getting people onto it. They don't advertise it that much, but it's there. So if you ever wanted to look at rigid or you have to do the rigid before you get the RTIC. So if you ever want to look at rigid, the FET supply the courses. Now I know for a fact there's one starting on the 20th of May. I'm down to instruct on that, or to tutor on that. So I have that course. I don't have the numbers yet, but they normally take up to 16 people on the course.
You need your learner license to get into the course.
You just need your learner permit. And the way to get that is just do the theory.
Do the theory, yeah.
Right. So study the rules of the road book. Basically, you study the rules of the road because the theory is based around the rules of the road. So get that, study that. You get the theory, get your learner permit. Now, unfortunately, that's not covered in the price, obviously. That's you've got to do that yourself and pay for that yourself. Now, I've no idea what that costs. I don't think it's hugely expensive. It could be around 70 quid, I think. I'm not sure. But check it out. There's no harm in checking it out. And there's a huge demand for truck drivers. So you'll definitely get work out there. This company's taking on inexperienced drivers and training them up. So you don't need experience. This thing about, you'll always see on a job specification, you'll always see experience required. Or 12 months or 2 years experience required. Apply for it because they're not getting the experienced drivers. Experienced drivers are not leaving jobs. They're being well paid and well looked after in the jobs now. So they're not leaving. So they can't get experienced drivers. So they're taking in inexperienced drivers and they're training them up. They're putting mentors out with them for a couple of weeks and they're putting trainers. They do a training assessment, it's called, on you when you come in first. And the assessor will decide on how much training you need. And away you go. So try it if you're interested in truck driving. Graham, is Mark with you? Is he?
Yeah, he just got in there, but he's having a
That's
bit of trouble
okay.
with the laptop. He's logging in now.
Yeah.
That's all right. We just hang on from, okay?
Yeah.
That's everybody in. I'm looking for. Excuse me. No. Going 3 today. Absolutely.
Thank you. Sorry about that. A bit delayed this morning.
That's okay, Mark. You're all right. No worries. There's no rush at all. Let me just check something here. Why is that come up? No. Okay, we're all present, so let me just fill in the attendance. Okay. Okay. All right, Mark, I'll just change your name back there too.
Putin causing all the trouble.
Huh?
Vladimir Putin.
He's even naming our clients now. Okay. All right. Let's get on to looking at warehouse layout and storage. Now, so some of this program in Unit 2, you won't need to know. I'll skip across it. It's based on warehouse selection and warehouse design. You don't really need that. So we will change. We will take a look and change that. Okay, or we just move on past it. But basically, with warehouse layout and storage, obviously what we've got to remember here is we need to get as much as we possibly can into the storage space. Every single pallet space is money to a warehouse operative or operator. Okay, there can be no misfits. There can be no rubbish buildup. There can be no pallet area left without a pallet. So every single pallet rack and pallet space has to have product in it. Okay, it doesn't matter what the product is. The only thing you've got to remember inside the warehouse is, if it is of a chemical nature, you've got to store it away from the normal product. You'll have to have, and your warehouse will have, an area for chemicals. Or dangerous goods. They'll have lockup units for the likes of flammable product. Like I'm talking about just cans of paint. You know, you'll have all of that. Let me just actually. Just, where was it? Southeast. Project safety file. Okay, let me just flick through. This is pictures I took in an assessment in a warehouse, and this is something you're going to come across, but it's something you don't want in your warehouse, and you've got to make sure that this doesn't happen in and around the warehouse. Let me just see if I can click this on. Yeah, okay. Just take a look at this, and you'll see what I mean about warehouses and how tidy and neat they should be, and what you don't want happening in a warehouse. Now, can I click? I can. So, remember yesterday we were talking. So I just to go back one there and just show you that is a damaged box, right? And that is not something you want in your warehouse. You've got to ensure the product coming into the warehouse is in perfect condition, right? This was in perfect condition coming in. It was damaged in the warehouse, right? And as you can see from the type of damage, that could have been possibly been somebody standing on the box to get up to get another box in the next shelf, right? That's the way, that's what you're looking at. We spoke yesterday about labels and labeling, and the way the supplier could have the labeling affixed to it, and on that labeling it could have a particular code, and you can see the code there, BTO 303BR, right? So that would be the code coming in, and that would be picked up on the hand reader or on the scanner coming into the warehouse. And once they pick up that code, that computer then will tell the warehouse guy as to where that is to be placed in the warehouse, because the warehouse management system knows the product that's coming in, knows the weight of the product, the size of the product, and the description of the product, and it tells the warehouse supervisor then where that box is to be placed in the warehouse. That's what's called a warehouse management system, a WMS. Okay, that's what I was talking about yesterday. Now, just to move on, look at that. That is, if I'm not mistaken, it's a corner piece for the suite. You know the suite, the armchair or the settees with the corner piece, the L shape? That's a corner piece. Can you imagine the damage that's after receiving? And what caused that was a fork truck reversing from the opposite bay, right? Reversing out to drop the pallet and to turn and go out of the bay. He has caught that on the way out, right? Didn't report it, just kept going. That's the other side of it. Like that's ruined. It's destroyed. But these are things you don't want to happen in the warehouse, right? What's wrong with that picture?
The pallets kind of struggling to support it. Probably shouldn't use the pallet there to just support something that heavy. Like, should be some steel.
It just shouldn't be like that, And again, if you look at the box itself, now you'll see all the detail on the box itself, the product code, the product description, the color, the quantity, the measurements, the weight of the box, the gross weight, and it's 2 of 2 box, right? But look at the far corner of it. Look at the state of the far right-hand corner of the box. So that's telling me that product is damaged. And it shouldn't be on a pallet like that. These are 8x4 pallets or 8x3, 8x4 pallets. Right? The pallet just damaged. And then have a look on top of the product. What's on top of the product?
Something else.
Yeah. Absolutely crazy. And then if you look under the rack, What do you see under the rack?
More product.
Rubbish. Basically, rubbish. Now that to me is a waste of space. You could get more pallets in there. Like that rubbish is not paying for the space that's taken up. So, you know, a warehouse manager shouldn't be allowed or shouldn't allow that to happen. How about that? It's disgraceful. The damage to the product. That's the same picture side on. Now, as you can tell, this is a furniture warehouse. It's up on the dock. Okay, the furniture warehouse. We were brought in to assess the warehouse and we were doing an optimization, right, on the actual building itself. And they were looking for ways of increasing their input, taking in more product, and how would we suggest they optimize all their space. But as you can see, you know, optimizing their space is one thing, but there's no sense in optimizing their space if the product is getting damaged like this. Heavy stuff on top, light stuff on bottom. Absolutely crazy. Look at that. That box on the left is where they took a piece of the product to make up another product. Thrown out to the customer. So that's obsolete now. They'll have to wait for a part to come in before that can be shipped out. Crazy. Again, more damage on the right, the box open on the right, product being taken out of it. Look at that. That's, you know, you've got to avoid the likes of these things happening in your warehouse. Why? Because it costs the company money. You know, that's stuff that cannot be used again. It's all damaged. Look at that one. That fell off the shelf. Imagine somebody walking into the aisle and that's falling on top of them. More product opened. Yeah. The sign there says, do not split boxes or take loose chairs. No, take loose chairs from assembly. So they have an assembly department. Now, if you're looking for parts, go to the assembly department, right? And they'll give you the parts. But the staff here just decide to open the box and take the product out. There's the sign, look. It's disgraceful. More damage. Look at that. Now, this is what I was getting to, right? This is a warehouse that has, it's full. It was a massive warehouse, 100,000 square feet, right? But as you can see, it's all furniture. So, furniture is a major fire risk, as we all know, right? The spark could set off this warehouse. That was product that was just left out on a shelf in the assembly area. It's actually tinners, paint tinners. How flammable is that?
Very.
Very flammable.
White spirits, I think, is it?
White spirits, yeah, same thing, white spirits.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's the area. And look at the state of this area. Absolutely crazy. A fire hazard throughout. And again, that's just, oh, that's me. Look at my mask on. Somebody got a picture of me, got me into the picture. Again, you know, you can see it. It's lethal. You know, that's heavy product on top of light product. Look. overhanging the pallet. Look at that. And more of them. Look at that. Like, there's no excuse for this. It's a massive big warehouse. There is absolutely no excuse for it. If it's packed properly, you're not going to have damaged product. If the forklift drivers were careful, you wouldn't have damaged product. It's just recklessness. People not taking care of the product. They don't give a damn, and that's costing the company money. And that's money that, they might want to invest in their employees. How can they if the employees don't look after the product? That's a spill, an asset spill, right beside a charger for a forklift. It's where it came out of the battery. The battery was leaking, and that's how they cleaned it up. They put cardboard on it. Like, there should be chemical spill units out placed around the warehouse for the likes of this.
That's just sawdust, is it?
Sorry?
Special sawdust.
Yeah, there's a special, yeah. That's the way it should be. That's exactly how it should be laid out. And that's how it was laid out after we walked away. We were finished our project. That's the way it was finished. Yeah, that's the end of it. So, now you know what's expected of you. You've just listened. You've just got to take care, right? You do things, but you do them with care. You have to take care of what you're doing with your forklifts. It is so easy to damage product if you don't take care. Everything, especially going into a bay and coming out of the bay, should be taken with due diligence, due care as to what you're doing. How much space have you got? And a lot of warehouses, because they're trying to get as much in, will only give you the bare minimum space, the bare amount of space you need to lift the pallet, to take it out, and to turn the pallet, as in turn the actual forklift to drive out of the aisle. But if that's the case, and that is the case in the majority of warehouses, like, they literally measure, the racking people measure the distance that's required from shelf to floor with regards to the space you need to lift it off the shelf and place it on the floor, and then to get the turning circle of the forklift. That's why they use reach trucks, because reach trucks, you can lift it, you can bring it back and drop it onto the reach itself, onto the front of the forklift, and it should turn, on a spindle, you could say. It's just a one wheel thing. It just turns and out you go. Right? You have side loaders as well. And a side loader, it literally drives down the aisle, the fork goes in, lifts it, takes it out, and continues down the aisle. It doesn't have to turn in the aisle. Okay? So there's different types of forklifts for different types of warehousing. Okay, so with regards to the systems themselves, the common systems. Now can you guys still see that?
Warehouse layout and storage systems.
Yeah, you've got it. Yeah, that's okay. Right. Storage itself can be defined as a temporary location for materials required for operational purposes. That's what it can be defined as, right? It's an area of which you will be storing product. You'll be holding product for instruction or demand as to the next stage, which could be back into manufacturing plant, it could be back onto a production line, or it could be going out for distribution. Okay. The last thing you will get is, people telling you to take a pallet from A and put it into, an area, or say storage area Z. The less movement, the less chance of damage. So once it's put into the bay, it doesn't come out of that bay until there's a demand for it, a request for that product, right? You have different systems. right? I'll just skip the site selection. You don't really need that. Warehouse location again. What does the location have? Or what effect does it have? Right? A warehouse location can impact on staff with regards being able to get to the site and get from the site. You know, is there a bus route? If you're using your car, is there parking available? Recruitment opportunities. Again, you know, depending on the location, it will depend on the availability of staff or persons willing to go and work there. Again, the proximity to public transport. You know, is it on a bus route? You know, or is it on a railroad? How do people get to you? The value of the property itself. You know, in 10 years' time, is the property going to be worth more or less? The environmental impacts, right, that can have on warehouse locations. You know, is your warehouse in an area that you cannot have diesel forklifts? The local authorities, what are they like to deal with? You know, local authorities can be quite, offish with regards to helping people, helping companies out. You know, take the likes of a roadway into an industrial area. You know, or footpaths. You know, from the corner of the estate into the premises. Things like that you've got to work out with the local authorities. The customer perception then. How does the customer see the location of the warehouse? You know, is it near the production line? Is it near the retail center? It's very important. And also customer reaction. You know, the reaction to the fact that you've relocated nearer to Cash's of Cork than you have to, you know, Woody's of Cork. And then disruption to service. You know, the location, you know, relocating can cause major disruption to the service you provide to customers. So again, you've got to be careful with that. So the warehouse itself, you know, the operations, the activities, the handling and storage. Like the objective is to provide to efficiently receive inventory, to store it as required, to assemble it into complete orders as it pick and pack, and to then ship it out to the customer. That's really what a warehouse, it sums up what a warehouse is for, what it's about. The space requirement planning. Anybody recognize or have a guess at where that location is? Who it belongs to? 3 robots, by the way.
I'll go with Amazon.
Just with the size of it.
Amazon.
Your mic's off, Greg. I think your mic's off. I don't know if you heard you. I think so. I know it's off.
Yeah, your microphone's off, Graham, but I can hear you via Mark.
Oh, sorry. I was wondering.
It's all right. It's all right. Don't worry about it. So, again, space requirement planning is of the utmost importance. You know, you've got to plan out your receiving area. So you've got to assess the square footage or square meters you need to receive the goods in. So, you know, do you need 5 loading docks or unloading docks, or do you need 10? And then what space inside the warehouse can you, or do you need to receive in that product before it's put up into the racks? Okay, so receiving area is important. The picking area can be quite important too. But again, you've got to locate it in the right place, which is down beside the goods outwards, right? Because once you pick it and pack it, it's ready for shipping. And you don't want it up near the receiving end because it's got to be taken from the receiving end all the way down to the dispatch every time it's been dispatched, right? Pallet storage then, how much storage do I need? And not only how much storage do I need, what type of storage systems do I need? You know, you've got pallet stacking systems, you have mobile shelving, you have static shelving, you have low and high rise racking, you have racking systems itself, you have secure presses, you have open shelving, lots of different types of storage systems. So you've got to make sure you pick the right storage system to suit the demand, the type of demand, the type of product you're going to store. Packing and unitizing, again, that would be, that's quite important because, again, it's got to be near dispatch. You've got to be able to pack it. You've got to have room for the packing materials. A lot of people forget that they have a packing area, but they don't think of where they're going to actually store the packaging for that operation. And sometimes, they put it in the wrong place. People have to walk to it, or they have to get a pallet truck and bring it into the packing area. Customizing. Again, customizing is putting it in the right bay for the right carrier or the right customer. Okay, so you customize the area into bays. And then shipping then is getting it out that back door. ASAP. So you've got all that, and then you have another type of racking system too is the drive-through. Right, drive-through racking. Used a lot in major large warehouses. They have both drive-through, they've narrow aisle, and they've very high bays. 13.5 meter bays. Like it's out of this world what you see in the warehouses. The narrow aisle is a big thing, and then you have systems like bulk racking, right? Or bulk areas with no racking in them at all. All right. The main thing about racking is it's got to be adjustable. Right, it's got to be adjustable to suit the product coming in. Right, but 9 times out of 10, it's initially put in to suit the product. Unless you have a change of customers, well, then you might have a change of size for product. All right. Again, it's a system that's used for palletized unit loads, and it consists obviously of upright frames, horizontal beams that interlock really to form the racking structure. And again, with that type of racking, each pallet is individually accessible. It's arranged in a wide aisle pattern. Excuse me, and it doesn't require the likes of specialized handling equipment such as AGVs. Right? It's arranged that way to give high quality storage, but it may only, like when you think about it, utilize 40% of floor space. But that's okay if it's fast throughput and ease of loading and unloading is needed. It's a fairly popular system, or was a very popular system, until we got major logistics companies coming into this country. And then what they brought in was the idea of high bays and narrow aisles. Okay, but you have lots of different types of equipment. Expansion, don't really need it. Warehouse design, I want to go past. You don't really need to know that type of thing. This is part of the main program. Warehouse per layout of a warehouse can lead to damaged racking, can lead to traffic jams and turning problems, danger to personnel and dock areas that need to be linked. Okay, principles of the layout: using the most suitable unit load, making the best use of the space that you have, minimizing movement. Right, and again, that's a major issue in a lot of warehouses. Right, they put the product that is the most demand, they put it, somewhere in the warehouse. But product that's in most demand should be up around the goods outwards. You don't want to be, racing down an aisle to the back of the warehouse, every 10 minutes to get a product that actually, goes out in the trucks all the time. Okay, controlling movement of the forklifts and the location of, where the forklifts park, where your offices is, where personnel would need entry and exit from the actual warehouse location. Providing safe and secure environment, sound conditions, maintaining the minimum overall operating costs, right? Total cost. Again, you know, you're maximizing the use of space, you maximize the use of equipment, and then the use of labor, the accessibility to all items, and then protection of all items. They are, you know, you must adhere to the layout principles. Factors affecting the layout. Outside factors is the size and the configuration of the site. You know, are you going to have 40-foot trailers coming in with containers, or is it 20-foot containers? How many bays do you need for offloading? How many bays do you need for reloading? And again, you'll see what I'm talking about when we get to the actual different types of warehousing. You know, configuration is very, very important with regards to your loading areas and your unloading areas, right? Site access, you know, what's site access like? With regards to, again, the traffic flow. Your local authority plans with regards to roadways into it, your site details, your financial considerations, and of course the building factors. How are we going to build this? We're going to use mass concrete? We're going to use slabs? It's a block build? The type of roof, what are we putting in? You know, are we putting in a roof that gives natural light into the warehouse? If it does, you've got to be careful with the type of equipment you use. Inside factors, well, the flow of goods. You know, true flow is literally from from goods inwards to goods outwards. That's true flow. The movement of people, you have to consider at all times the movement of personnel within the warehouse. The access to stock, how easily is it to access the stock? The identification of stock, again, how easy is it to identify stock? And you, when you're putting stock away, have to consider this, because, you know, the labels should always be facing out. So as anybody coming along can actually see the product and see the identification number, see the code. That all has to be accessible to you when you're going to pick up the goods. So when you're putting it away, you've got to make sure that the label is on the outside of the pallet, facing outwards. Stock location with WMS, it will provide you with stock location. It'll tell you exactly where to place it, but it'll also tell you exactly where to pick it from. Okay. With regards to stock checking, again, a properly managed warehouse will make stock checks very, very easy to do. And then there's two types of stock checks that's performed in the warehouses, and I'll get to that at some stage today. Stock replenishment, again, your warehouse management system will tell you when you need to replenish, right? When you need to bring in stock to replace the stock that has gone out today. And then stock handling, then handling the stock. The last thing you want is all those pictures I showed you. You know, that's true mishandling. That's true carelessness. People don't, you know, not caring about it. They don't give a damn. That costs money. Money that could be used to, you know, bring in new forklifts, upgrade the heating system in the warehouse, provide you with better PPE, and, you know, most importantly, provide you with an increase in wages or a bonus. So that's the inside factors of the layout. Now, there's a thing called the 5 S's with regards to warehousing. And again, like most systems of warehouses, it originated back in Japan. Okay, and the 5 S's stand for, obviously, 5 words starting with the letter S. You have sorting, setting orders, systematic cleaning, standardizing, and sustaining. The sorting is separate according to type. The setting order is to put in the proper or desired order or condition for use. Systemic cleaning, right, is system-wide. Systemic cleaning means, you know, keeping the product clean, but also keeping the area around that product clean. Standardizing Well, that can obviously help maximize compatibility, safety, repeatability, and quality, interoperability as well. And then you're sustaining to keep it in existence, to keep it maintained,
What
and
does
to continue.
sorry?
Yeah, Graham.
What does interoperability mean?
It means if that the operation itself is interoperable. Like, you know, if you have a particular type of forklift, you know, you need that forklift to be able to operate in a particular style of racking, right? So everything has to work in what do you call it? In it has to work in a way that, you know, all items of material handling or mechanical aids will suit and operate in the type of racking you have. So interoperable means that, you know, it's also that, you know, you have it placed in a system. You have your warehouse laid out in the system that, you know, the operation runs freely and it flows, you know, just nicely without a lot of effort. Okay, that would be interoperable. Sustaining then is to keep it that way. You know, once you've got it in place, once you've everything running smoothly, well, then you've got to maintain that. And again, continuous then is very important. You know, you have to keep it there. Once you get it right, you know, make sure it stays right. Warehouse flow, we look at that in a minute. But again, you know, the 5 areas of warehouse flow, when you think about it, you receive the goods in, you have a reserve stock area for checking, you know, and then putting the stock away. You've order picking, which is the forward stock. You have marshalling, as in the consolidation area, right? And the bay area for the different carriers or customers. And then you've goods out. They would be the 5 areas of warehouse flow. Excuse me. Again, looking at that warehouse flow, what happens in each section of the 5 sections? Well, in goods inwards, obviously, it's the incoming of goods. You've got to receive the goods in, and you unload and temporarily hold those goods in the goods inwards. And it's only a temporary hold. In order that you are able to check, you know, that you've the correct goods received, you know, the grade and packaging, the right quantity, and are there any damages or shortages? All right, that's all done in the goods inwards. Then you must record all your receipts and any discrepancies. And this is all done now onto your warehouse management system, right? You then unpack or repack if necessary. So if there's a box wet or damaged, you know, you unpack it. As long as the product is not damaged, you repack it. And then the decision is made with regards to the goods location. Where have they to go into reserve stock areas, right? And this is, as I said to you, this is all, you know, as it should be in the management system, the warehouse management system. And it will tell you, as it receives the goods in, it will decide on where they want it in the warehouse. And that will give you direction as to the location for parking up the goods into storage. Okay. The main store itself, the reserve stock we call it, is the bulk area, right? You locate the goods into the reserve storage areas. So you've got the pad that's telling you, you go to, you know, aisle 5, you go to bay 17, and you go to the 3rd level, and that's where that pad is to go. Okay, and then the confirm the goods location to control function, right? So you must confirm that the goods are where they're supposed to be. And again, your iPad or depending on how far advanced the company you go to are in technology, you know, but, you know, what we recommend is, you know, warehouses, they get in a technology system in that suits the type of work they do, right? And some systems, again, once you place the pallet, it picks up a barcode off the pallet, it confirms it against the barcode on the level, right, against the barcode on the actual racking system, against the barcode that the oil you've entered, right? So you've constant updating, you've constant recording of where that product is going. And then you issue goods then to replenish the order picking stock. So, you get stock that's in demand for picking, and you replenish that stock as it's being used. That's, part of the warehouse flow. The order picking area then would be the forward store, as we call it. It's the pick pack area. And the goods have to be selected for the customer's orders. So again, if you think of the system puts a demand for a particular pallet of goods, right? And that demand is put out as you are receiving the orders for the customers. The forklift driver will deliver that pallet of goods down to the picking place. So you just stand by, you get the goods as they come to the picking, and you pick and pack as per order, right? That would be the normal practice. If it's a smaller company in a smaller warehouse, you'll be given the picking order, and you'll be sent to pick the item from the warehouse and bring back to the picking area. But that, to me, is inefficient. If you want to optimize staff output, right, and productivity, well, then you should have someone on the forklift that's picking the items and bringing them to the pick area. That way, you have people selected for pick and pack, and you leave them to pick and pack. All right. And then you pack the order and you check it. And again, package and material storage must be kept beside the order picking area. 4 then is the consolidation area or marshalling area. Again, you assemble the goods by the customer or by the vehicle load or by the carrier that's going to take the goods out. The customer could have their own bay, your own vehicles could have a bay, your own vans, or you could have a carrier, taking them down to the Tipperary area. Excuse me, I'm tongue twisted again today. And then 5 is goods outwards for all outgoing goods. So loading facilities are required for vehicles. And you must have, again, a dispatch schedule. There's no sense in, 10 trucks arriving in at 5 o'clock in the evening to do pickups. You've got to schedule, or your warehouse management system must schedule what time each delivery or collection vehicle comes in at. Right? And you're notified, by the way, at that time. And then it's your job to have the goods ready at that time for the vehicle coming in. Is that okay? Do we all understand the reason for good layout and warehousing and what it takes to actually have a smooth operation? Any questions on that? No, we're okay. All right. Now, the type of warehouse layout. There are 4 main types of warehouse layout. You have the inverted T warehouse, you have the cross flow warehouse, a corner warehouse, which I don't really go into the corner warehouse, but you've also got a through flow warehouse. Right? Now, the inverted, again, watch where the goods inwards, goods outwards are on each of these. Okay, so the inverted T is where the goods inwards and goods outwards are on the same wall. Right? So the same area, the same wall, you've got goods inwards and goods outwards. And if you look at the arrows there, the goods inwards, the goods come in, they're in an area, right? They're located to a packing area or a storage area, and that's on the left-hand side of the warehouse. Okay? The right-hand side of the warehouse is low use, medium use, and high use items. So the bulk storage area is where there's massive bulk, right? And it needs extra space, extra wide pallet spaces. Or it could be freestanding goods where you've got pallets just stacked on pallets. The likes of pallets of timber, right? The likes of that would be stacked on pallets. On the right-hand side of the warehouse then, as I said to you earlier, the goods that go out often, where there's a huge demand on, they go nearest the dispatch area. That's high usage items. The medium usage items, obviously, is a stage back, and then the low usage items are at the back of the warehouse. And you've got the dispatch area. Now, goods in, goods out are on the same side in an inverted T layout. The high usage items obviously close to the dispatch area. Bulk items are separated. The low usage items further from the dispatch area, split centrally to the right and to the left of the main aisle. It's a two-way system. And the savings here on the T, inverted T, is the same staff and the same handling equipment can be used for goods in and goods out, because it's placed in such a way that the goods in and goods out are on the same side. So you don't need extra forklifts, and you certainly don't need extra staff. The cross-flow warehouse, again, the goods in and goods out are on the same wall. Okay, and you can see there where the goods in comes in, and then nearest dispatch, you have the high use items. Next up is the medium usage items, and again at the back wall, the lower demand items. And they come out and they come down and around to dispatch. Right now, on the way down, obviously at dispatch, there's a pick pack area against that wall that leads into the high usage. Now, notice this one is a one-way system, right? And that's, you know, it's an excellent system for safety, where you can't get, you know, forks going against forks in the aisles. There's only one way you get in and out the aisle. It's a one-way system. With the cross-flow, goods in, goods out, again on the same side, a one-way system is in place. They feed in the aisle and they feed out of the aisle. High-use items are stored closest to goods inwards and dispatch areas. Low-use items are furthest away from the goods in and dispatched. And again, the same staff and handling equipment can be used for in and out movements. Now, a true flow warehouse, slightly different, right? A true flow warehouse is where the goods inwards is on one side of the building and goods outwards or dispatch is on the other side of the building. But if you look and see, you'll see then, you know, center to the goods in and goods out is the high usage area, the high demand items, right? Next to them, the medium, and the furthest point away from goods inwards and dispatch is the low demand items. Okay, true flow. I see a lot of true flow warehouses around. The other one I see a lot of is the one-way system, right? The one-way system, which is very, very good. The true flow, again, goods in, goods out, are the opposite ends of the warehouse. All goods travel the full length of the warehouse on a one-way system. Usually separate goods in and out. You need staff, right? You need extra staff and extra equipment, as in separate material handling equipment is also needed. And high usage goods are in the center, with medium and low to the left and right, the lowest being at the far walls. And then we have what we call a U-flow, you know, and U-flow, again, goods come in and are dispatched from the same wall, the same end of the building. And you come into the goods inwards area, and again, you have a reserve stock in the goods on the right-hand side, and then on the other side, you have the forward storage area and the marshalling area, right? So the goods are on the right, as you see it there. Coming into the warehouse, they're on the left, and that's where all your racking is. That's where all your storage area is. And then as the goods are needed, they're brought over to the forward storage and then broken down in the marshalling area, as in pick and pack, bayed up for the customer, the carrier, or your own vehicles, and then dispatched out through the building there.
Is that what we saw on Amazon yesterday?
Something similar, yeah, something similar. But again, they would have a huge
scale, yeah,
area for reserve stocks, you know. But the problem with Amazon is they have so many small items. Like they have thousands upon thousands of small items. As you can see, you know, go into their site, there has to be millions of items on it. And to individually pick them, you have to have access to a good picking area. So, like they said, with AI, they can tell what the demand is going to be before it's even, ordered. So it's a lot of guesswork, but it's very, very good guesswork if you think about it. They bring stuff into the demand area before it's even ordered, right? And that's where planned areas, very well planned areas and good design, where it comes into play, right? It's the pick and pack. It's getting the stuff from reserve to the pick and pack, before it's needed. And then it's a rush then to get it out, packed, picked, packed, and out the door for delivery next day. That's the way it is now. Okay. The U-flow occurs when the goods receipt dispatch functions are located at the same end of the warehouse building. And products flow in at receiving, move into storage, into the back of the warehouse, and then to shipping, which is located adjacent to receiving on the same side of the building. Items with higher throughput level are located closer to the loading bays. An example of a U-flow design can be seen. You've seen the diagram there. All right. We spoke about this earlier, height utilization, right? Regardless of the facility size, the design should maximize the usage of available cubic space by allowing for the greatest use of height on each floor, right? Through the use of racking or other hardware, it should be possible to store products up to the building's ceiling. Now, that is not a factual statement, because you must allow at least 18 inches to 2 foot between the top of your pallet and the ceiling itself. And that's for a sprinkler system, right, to operate, that you will get the full benefit of the sprinkler system. Okay, that's important to note. Maximum effective warehousing height is limited by the safe lifting capabilities of the material handling equipment, such as forks. Again, one of my assessments on one of the warehouses I was in, they actually put in all new racking. Okay, fantastic, so well laid out, looked the piece, looked the party. But the forklifts they ordered didn't actually reach the top level pallet space. It just came in under the actual bar across the top level. Bad planning. Now, as I said, all you have to do here, like they're all panicking, we have to order the forklifts, we'll have to do this, do that, do the other. Stop. All you've got to do is drop all your top level down 2 notches. Use that then to utilize that by putting, the higher pallets up there. So increase your pallet height. Use the top to keep those pallets in storage, but you can still use the same forklifts. Optimizing the equipment, the suit, the layout. But that is what you're up against in a lot of warehousing planning. When it comes to laying out a warehouse, the steps are simple. Identify where we are today, identify where we need to be tomorrow, generate feasible alternatives, logically evaluate the alternatives, implement the logic alternative. And again, if the proper effort, time, and creativity are applied to the problem, the formula will generate excellent results. It's all in the planning, and again, getting the team together before you, even put the first bolt in the ground for racking. Get the team together and make sure all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted. The storage systems, I mentioned them earlier on. You have pallet stacking, you have mobile, you have static, you have a carousel system, you have low and high rise racking systems, secure presses, open shelving, closed shelving. Right, that's the pallet stacking system you can see, and that's the general type of racking you will see in a warehouse. That's your mobile shelving unit. That's the one I was talking about, the drive-through, right? That's an excellent system, as long as last in, first out is used. Okay, last in, first out. LIFO. There's also an FO, first in, last out. There's first in, first out. Yeah. So this is last in, first out. And that's where the driver drives in on the rack system, right? He drives nearly through the racks. You can actually drive through the racks. There's no cross beams. The beams are all up along the sides of the racking system. I don't know if you can see that there, right? The beams are along the side, along the, sorry, the what do you call them? The shelving unit itself runs along the beams to the side of the beams, right? There's no cross beam, what do you call them? Beams. There's no cross beams. It's all runs along the side, the uprights, and you can drive straight through. Right, it's very, very popular in the likes of companies that have the same product, right? And then the bay is then what dictate the use by dates as such. But like take the first bay there, and then if you look at the third bay, fourth bay, fifth bay, sixth bay, it's the same product, right? So the first bay here on the left of the picture would probably have to go out first, right? And then the second, the third bay, fourth bay, in that order is how you would transport them out. All right. But that's the drive-through racking. Very popular. The storage systems then, the block stacking is what you see there. It's where you palletize. It's just stacked up. Now, it also can be used for goods outwards, where if you've got a trailer coming in that can take 22 pallets, when you can pull the pallets and store them, block stack them in that area, too high, and then just send them out from there. Again, it's prepping for the actual dispatch of the goods. That's your carousel, right, with your conveyor belt. And that's used. You've seen the likes of that in a more updated one in Amazon. Okay, so the type of equipment you can expect to use. We get to that now in a second. But again, you've got to be careful with the warehouse layouts, because you have to worry about traffic jams or inadequate turning space, turning circles, right, in the warehouse. They have to be efficient, and they have to be safe to take into consideration. All right. All right. So with regards to the type of equipment, right, the type of equipment that's used in warehousing, it has to be effective, and it has to suit the type of materials being stored. And there's two elements needed to be considered, and that's movement continuity, and then movements get the scale of the economics or economies. All right, they're the two elements that need to be considered when you look at equipment. The continuity means that it is better for a material handler or piece of handling equipment to make a longer move than to have a number of handlers make numerous individual short segments of the same move. And what do we mean by that? Basically, sorry, go ahead, someone wants to say?
No double handling.
Yeah, exactly. No double handling was the way to put it. But also, you don't have 5 or 6 guys running down aisles to gather. If you remember yesterday, we spoke about it yesterday. I was saying to Graham where, Graham would be given an order. He'd be given the order for all of the dispatch vehicles on one particular item. Instead of having 8 guys running for that particular item, you now have one guy going down to pick 48 deliveries of that particular item. He brings it back to the dispatch area, and each of the 8 guys then take that product off the pallet and pack it away in their customer's order box, right? So, in other words, you've got they would go to the back of the warehouse if necessary, right, or even just into the high demand goods, and they'd pick for every order that's going out that day the one forklift, and then he would bring it to the dispatch area, and then the dispatchers then or the pickers then would pick from that pallet. So you don't have 8 guys going down to pick individual items from the same pallet down the warehouse. Do it from the picking area. All right. Again, exchanging the product between handlers or moving it from one piece of equipment to another, that wastes time and it increases the potential for damage. So, as a general rule, fewer longer movements in the warehouse are preferred. So, one guy going for it and not 8. The scales of economics, again, the movement scale of economics imply that all warehouse activities should handle or move the largest quantities possible. What we mean by that is, again, you look at the 8 guys and they're going down to pick up 1 box each to bring it back to the picking area. But if I put them 8 boxes on a pallet, I only need 1 guy to go and collect them and bring them to the picking area. Is that okay? Instead of moving individual cases, warehouse activities should be designed to move groups of cases, such as pallets or containers. Now, you could also have several items collected by the one operator for the picking area. In other words, you could have 8 pieces of this, 7 pieces of that, and 5 pieces of that, right? All in different cartons, in different areas. But again, the one operator goes and picks the 8, 7, and 5, puts them onto one pallet, and brings them to the picking area, right? That saves the 8 guys in the picking area going to pick their own stuff and then having to walk back or drive back to the picking area. That's what we mean by movement and, the scale. The grouping or batching might mean that multiple products or orders must be moved or selected at the same time. Whilst this might increase the complexity of the individual's activities, since multiple products or orders must be considered, the principle reduces the number of activities and the resulting cost. Cost of downtime, cost of if you guys are all using forklifts, that type of thing. Whereas equipment, then you've got the narrow aisle orders, the reach trucks, the counterbalance forklifts, and the powered pallet trucks. They would be the norm. They would be the norm as to what you're going to use. There's the forklift, the side loader, the hand pallet truck, and then there's the reach truck. There's a crane, there's a hoist, and there's pallet trolleys, as they call them. Okay, that is your narrow aisle forklift. You've seen it in that's an early edition. You've seen it in the one of the first slides I showed you, but that was an AGV, right? An automated guided vehicle that you've seen in that picture. This is operated by individuals, okay, and they're purposely built for narrow aisle. The narrow aisle, the justification for narrow aisle, it's a lot more expensive. These trucks are very expensive too, but the justification in spending that kind of money is you have a lot more space for a lot more pallets. A standard warehouse where you could get 10,000 pallets into, with narrow aisle, you would probably get 25,000 pallets. You approximately 1.5 times, the number of pallets of a standard warehouse you'll get into a narrow aisle. Hence, everybody nowadays go for narrow aisle. Why wouldn't you? But again, it depends on the type of product. type of product dictates the type of racking you go for. Again, the Narrow-Wheel, it's perfect for optimizing storage space use. The Narrow-Wheel truck range offers man-down trucks for high-speed lateral pallet handling and man-up trucks for full pallet handling and, again, high-level order picking in very narrow aisles. Your reach truck, we spoke about reach trucks. Again, you know, your reach truck with heights of up to 12.5 meters and load capacities from 1.2 to 2.7 tons. The truck is suitable for block stacking, drive-in racking, and long load handling. Equally effective in chilled and cold store environments. I have to say every single forklift now is effective in chilled and cold store environments. They're built that way now. But there's new stuff coming out all the time, to be honest with you. There's your counterbalance. Yeah. There's one for everyone in the audience, you could say. They're everywhere. They're found everywhere. And again, very useful for outside loading trucks and unloading trucks. Not very good for inside. The durable range, 3- and 4-wheel electric, diesel and gas counterbalance trucks. It's suitable for a variety of indoor and outdoor operations, including loading and loading goods, line feeding, stacking, order picking, and horizontal transport. With load capacities, again, ranging from 1 ton to 8.5 tons. Now, you can get out to the port and docks and you'll see massive counterbalance trucks that'll lift 20 tons, 30 tons, 40 tons. It depends on the requirement. I don't know if any of you have ever seen the large forklifts that operate down around the docks, the port and docks. They're massive. Big hoister machines. Irish lift trucks build them now. They took over hoister in Ireland. Okay, the hand pallet truck. They're all familiar, I'm sure you will be when you go into the warehouse because they're everywhere. Hand pallet trucks are customizable, making them suitable for a broad range of material handling applications, including horizontal, transport, order picking, loading, and unloading. The danger with a hand pallet truck is it can run out of control. You can lose control of it very, very easy. You know, uphill or downhill, you can lose control of it. But what you should remember is the very, very simple operation you would take to prevent losing control of it is you see that little handle on the left-hand side. It's a lever, right? If you pull up that lever, the pallet instantly drops to the ground. So if you find you're struggling with a pallet coming towards you and you can't control it, just pull that lever up and it'll drop the pallet to the ground and it's going to go nowhere. Same going downhill. If you find you're struggling to hold it from running away from you, pull up the handle, drop it, and it'll stop instantly. And then you just get extra bodies to give you a hand or get the forklift in to lift it and put it where it should be going. Power pallet trucks, you'll have the license for these as well. There's so many different types of power pallet trucks. You know, it's again, when you go to your workplace, if they have power pallet trucks and they're different to the ones you've learned with Munster forklifts, I think, they will show you how to use it. They will ask you, have you used this type of gear before? No, but I have the license for the other one. That's fine. Let's have a look at this. And they'll teach you how to use it. Right? Very convenient, used a lot. But the danger is they're very fast and they're very dangerous. Right? You have to take your time on them. You know, I was very nearly knocked over by one of them in BWG's warehouse in Nanger Road in Dublin. I was out there doing an assessment, and this guy came tearing out from the end of an aisle, didn't blast a horn, didn't do anything he should have done, and nearly took me clean off my feet. That's how dangerous these things are. They travel at speed. And if you're not being careful with it, you will cause injury or damage. Right? Range of power pallet trucks, including trucks for horizontal pallet transportation, loading and unloading, and order picking. Now, loading and unloading is obviously off a dock area onto the back of a trailer and back onto the dock area. Right? Obviously, it's no good. if you're on ground level and you're coming trying to get it off a truck. Now there are some that will lift the blades up a certain height, but not 4 feet up off the ground. The compact pallet trucks are fast. They are fast and very powerful. And again, with a focus on safety and ease of use. Available with pedestrian, platform, and stand-in and rider seat versions. The truck has a wide variety of uses in material handling applications, including warehouses and shops. Your side loader, then, again, normally used in builders providers yards or timber manufacturing. The likes of Smart Play down in Waterford would use the likes of these, right? The side loaders don't need to turn like standard forklifts, so they can drive up alongside the rack or the truck and easily unload and load from the side. The side loaders are designed to work with narrow aisles and doorways. Long loads such as timber, steel, or pipes are more easily handled because the load is facing in the direction of travel. Okay, reducing the overall width of the equipment and the load. You can see it there. You lift the load, okay, and you bring it back in and you land it on those, fairly wide platforms below it. And it just drives forward or drives back. Right? And you can do a complete 360, obviously, with that turn wheel. That's how it operates. Very convenient in around, steel and timber long nets. Okay, chain hoist, you're not going to come across it unless you're in a manufacturing plant where there's steel. Tackle, employing an endless chain instead of a rope, and operates especially in workshops from overhead track for hoisting heavy weights. Crane, again, you see the heavy RSJ going across, and it clearly states you can't lift any more than 5 tons. An overhead crane, commonly called a bridge crane, is the type of crane found in industrial environments. As overhead crane consists of all parallel runways with a traveling bridge spanning the gap. A hoist, the lifting component of the crane, travels along the bridge. If the bridge is regularly supported on 2 or more legs, running a fixed rail at ground level, the crane is called a gantry crane. All right, a gantry crane. Okay, let's take a break, and I'll see you all back at 11:30. Is that okay, guys?
Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you.
Enjoy. Any questions? Sorry, before you go, any questions on what we've done this morning?
No,
Everybody
no
okay?
questions.
Not at the moment. Not at the moment.
Yeah.
Anna.
All right. Okay. See you at 11:30.
you.
Yeah, 11:30. Thanks.
Half past 11. Хорошо.